pay-per-view week. And when it's pay-per-view week, that means it's AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. And Will Washington is here. And also here is the one, the only Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey, okay, I have to ask because, look, for those who, last week we just had Blood and Guts live in Greensboro. It was an awesome event, and we saw two incredible Blood and Guts matches. And of course,
very different matches.
Very, very different matches. But you were in the ring for the intro of the show. We saw a big, really awesome pyro display. We saw the pyro work its way down the ramp and then into the ring. And if you were like paying really, really close attention, it looked like some of that may have got you a little bit.
So here's a treat for our video watchers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that little mark. I mean, we're a little under a week out, but the pyro definitely tagged me on the intro, which I was like, I saw out of the corner of my eye just kind of go and like veer off the direct path, and I was like, oh, and I felt it. It didn't hurt, which was really cool. But I didn't know how bad it was, and the only thing I could think of was, I know there's going to be a flaming table later, so I need to not sell this in case I'm on fire, which is like a weird thing that like most people would never think about. But I guess it's like, that's my ref brain kicking in. So yeah, Blood and Guts was great. There was also lots of other fun stuff. It like Blood and Guts just smells bad by the end of the day. Like if you have Sky Blue and you have Kyle O'Reilly both like on the show, like you saw what was happening and it was just like, it was gross. But fun fact, our ref shirts, blood doesn't stain them at all. Sharpies and a bunch of other stuff will stain them, but like the blood washed right out. No color treatment needed.
Love that. And you know what else I love, by the way, is the fact that this show right here is presented by Upper Deck, and the 2025 AEW SP Game Used Set is available now and is the first ever AEW release packed with autographs, tech cards, and real match used relics pulled straight from the ring, including championship gear, event banners, even a one-of-one fork from All In Texas.
The one Hangman used.
Yeah. Grab your box at local hobby shops and hit upperdeck.com to find a store near you.
Yeah. Also, the new AEW Full Gear digital set is available as well. You can get yours today at upperdeckepack.com/redemption/2025 Full Gear. We'll include the link in the show notes. Speaking of Full Gear, I mean, we've been dilly-dallying, but let's just get right to it, because AEW Full Gear is this Saturday, November 22nd, live from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Newark is very, very close to our hearts when it comes to Full Gear, because this is the 7th annual Full Gear, and we're coming back. We've been in this building many times.
This is the third time. I'll even...
Third time.
I recall, look, this is the difference in how much my life has changed, right? That like the first time AEW was at the Prudential Center for Full Gear, I was not working for AEW, but I was at the show because I actually shared an Airbnb with like 5 other friends to go to that show, and then one friend who like wasn't like part of the Airbnb and then like showed up. And I knew what he was gonna do, and I'm like, I bet you he's gonna, I bet you he's gonna like try to like couch surf, because he like showed up and was just like, yeah, guys, I just just hanging out, and then it's like, okay, what's about to happen here? And then like as nighttime rolls around, it's like he's not going anywhere. I know what he's about to do, and then it's like, I'm just gonna crash here with you guys. So like,
tired.
Yeah, shout out to said friend who you know who you are, but either way, then. 1 year later, or 2 years later, it was like we were at Full Gear last year in the Prudential Center, and that was an incredible event. And we had Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy in the main event. We had Swerve and Bobby Lashley, and so much going on in that show. And now here we are, 1 year later. It's Full Gear, and yeah, like you said, it's the 7th annual seventh annual Full Gear,
yes.
And you can get your tickets at AEWTix.com. Be there in person, and if you can't be there in person, don't forget that you can stream it on HBO Max, Prime Video, YouTube, Triller, and PPV.com. This is going to be an awesome show. There's so much happening on this show that, I mean, again, it's like when you think about last year and some of the big moments that came out of the show. And we had this. We talked about the main event last year with Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy, and one of the big matches of last year was Mercedes Mone defending the TBS title against Kris Statlander, and a match that I think everybody wanted to see last year. But I don't think
turned it around.
Yes, but what was interesting is that last year it was like, seeing Kris Statlander challenge for the TBS title was a big deal, and getting to see her in the ring with Mercedes Mone. And it's like, how are these two? What's their chemistry going to be like? What do these two bring to each other? And then here, yes, we've got those two awesome Metal Universe cards. Ladies. Yes.
Yeah.
And here we are now a year later, where Kris Statlander is now the AEW Women's World Champion, and she is putting her belt on the line against Mercedes Mone. It is now Kris Statlander with everything to lose, and Mercedes with one more piece of gold to gain. Mercedes is now 13 belts. Mercedes Mone. We talk about Ultimo, but Ultimo had a cap at 10. Mercedes. Yeah, this is officially Mercedes' gimmick, having a whole lot of belts. Now, when anybody in the future has a whole bunch of belts, it's going to be in tribute to Mercedes Mone. That's what this means today.
Right?
And so here we do have Mercedes. She's got 2 wins over Kris Statlander. And those were 2 of the best matches of 2024. And you got to be in the ring for both, I believe?
No, only the first one, unfortunately.
Only the first one.
I really wish I could have been in the ring for the second one, but it was like, yeah, I think it was the first time anyone kicked out of the Mone Maker, which is insane.
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of like just to shout out and kind of tie it back into Blood and Guts, because both these women were just in Blood and Guts. We saw them do this crazy table bump through the table that had all the titles. And it like Statlander actually came into the ring wearing her belt and like did splashes in the corner to people, which already hurts. And then when you combine a giant piece of metal hitting you as well, it's like, oh, okay, that hurts a lot. But I think both of these women have done an incredible job building up the AEW division, women's division, in sort of their own way. Like Statlander is basically an OG. She was here like episode 4, 5, 6, around there. And then Mercedes having her history as, a woman in wrestling and totally changing women's wrestling and kind of people's perception of it. To see these 2 women both have the singles belts of our division on them is a huge honor, but also just so like overdue, right? Like, yes, Mercedes has had the TBS title for a long time, but when we saw Statlander win the title from Toni Storm in that 4-way, it was like, yes, this makes so much sense. So I like that we're revisiting this match because we know both of these women can go hard in the paint, but I like this new era of Kris Statlander in her, Stat Daddy Championship era.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah, you're absolutely right. She is something else in this. You can see this new sense of confidence from Kris Statlander.
Right. She's always been more than a woman, but
And again, it's a different dynamic than it was a year ago. Knowing that, the AEW Women's World Championship is a belt that has eluded Mercedes, right? She got the challenge for this belt back at All In. I think a lot of people thought it was kind of a foregone conclusion that Mercedes was just one belt away from having it all in AEW, and then she wasn't able to do it. Toni Storm was able to get the better of Mercedes, and here we are now, a few months later. Mercedes again has an opportunity to this time silence the doubters and prove once and for all that she has Kris Statlander's number, that she can go 3 for 3 against Stat. But at the same time, this is Kris Statlander. She's not going to go down for a 3rd time against Mercedes Mone. But either way, I think the winners are once again going to be the fans. The fact that the first time these 2 went at it, nobody knew what to expect, tore the house down. They went at it a month later, and people thought they knew what to expect. They gave us a completely different match this time around, and it still tore the house down. And to know that they get to do it a year later as completely different performers than they were a year ago, I am excited for this one.
I'm really excited. I'm secretly hoping, not even secretly, I'll admit it on this podcast, I hope I get this match, because both those girls are just 2 people that I idolize, that I adore, that I have learned an incredible amount from, and just that I enjoy being around. One of them's a little meaner than the other, but uh there's still great people who do great things for our company. Speaking of great people, let's talk about the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Brodido is, I think, everyone's favorite like tag team that they never asked for, that they're so happy they got. We've got Bandito and Brody King have been killing it, absolutely killing it. And last time at Wrestle Dream, we saw them take on Konosuke Takeshita and Okada in an incredible match that tore the house down. Now we see them facing FTR, and Stokely Hathaway's along there. I just want to shout out Brody King for having enough fist strength to bust through a door and choke out Stokely, because that was incredible.
You know what was so incredible about that was being in the office in that moment. And of course, and when I say the office, I mean like one door over. And and so
You hear George putting the microphone together, like,
but hearing the pounding and then the breaking of it all, and I'm just like, you don't know how loud that actually got, and how like busting through a door, what that actually entails and what goes into that. And again, it's just like I said, it was one door over from it. And hearing that and then seeing it, excellent stuff. And I think Brody and Bandito have been an excellent tag team. I think that they have made a career out of silencing doubters. When you think about the fact that back at Forbidden Door, when they won the tag team titles, a lot of people thought it was a foregone conclusion that FTR was going to win the belts. And then Brodido walked out as the tag team champions. There was a lot of pleasant surprise. And I think there was some genuine excitement over these two as tag team champions. And thinking about that, and then going over to the fact that now they're going to be defending the titles against FTR. And I think that for a lot of people, it's like anytime FTR is in a tag team title situation, it's a foregone conclusion. FTR is going to win this. But at the same time, this is Brodido.
That's how Brodido won the titles.
Yes.
FTR was in the match. It's not a foregone conclusion anymore. But it's like, it's one of those things where like Brodido is so good and they have such good chemistry together that even though FTR is one of the greatest tag teams of all time, I think it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion that they walk away with this gold. Like Stokely's always sort of one of those guys you can't really know what's going to happen with him. He's slimy, he's wily, he's all over the place, right? So there is the Stokely factor. However, I think what's going to happen here is we'll just have an incredible combination of styles. Like FTR has that sort of old school style, and then you have Brodido has this, you've got this flippy luchador and then this gigantic hulk of a man facing each other. Like it's going to be an incredible wrestling match, just from like an actual, like, I don't want to say technical wrestling because that's its own thing, but technically wrestling, seeing these styles sort of clash together in the ring is going to be really fun.
Again, this is, I think this is going to be something really special as far as these two teams are concerned. And they always bring it in the ring, whether it's in, like we talked about before, three-way scenarios, or in this case, they face each other as tag teams. They've been excellent. Going into they face each other, of course, in the Forbidden Door tournament. But to know now that the titles are on the line here, FTR does have the opportunity to become tag team champions once more. And again, it has eluded them in ways where we've only gotten to crown so many multiple time tag team champions in AEW. The Bucks hold the record, but FTR would love to get their hands on that record as well, and get to make the race toward who gets to be the top tag team of all time. And this is another opportunity for FTR to do it. I think it could be their night.
It could be. And I mean, those are guys that really care about legacy and just leaving a legacy in wrestling. And speaking of legacy, I want to talk about a guy who's basically starting his, and I think there's no question, Kyle Fletcher has been an incredible TNT champion. This is one of those guys that I think all of us sort of knew was going to be a star, is currently a star, and is only going to grow brighter and brighter. And unfortunately, he is with the Don Callis family. Don Callis is a huge jerk. The whole family is just annoying. To the more of them that are together, like the worse they are, right? But Kyle Fletcher is one of those guys that is just always exciting to watch. And he is now facing Mark Briscoe again, but this time with the twist, it's a no DQ match. And if Mark Briscoe loses, he has to join the Don Callis family, which is, I think, one of the worst stipulations we've ever had in AEW.
I mean, I don't think there's anything I want to see less than Mark Briscoe,
Right?
the Don Callis family.
Oh.
But you know what, though? You know, we've spent so much time talking about Kyle Fletcher as the future, and it's like, no, this guy is here, and he's now.
He's the now.
And he is the now. You know, I came across an old clip, or at least what I thought was an old clip of Kyle Fletcher, and I realized it was only like a year ago. And just how much transformation this guy has had in the last year to become who he is today. When you look at when he was on AEW Unrestricted just a year and a half ago, or that was like 2 years ago. It was about 2 years ago we had him on the show.
Yeah.
And
he was like a child.
It was
compared to the man he is now.
I know. It's like I don't know. He went through, I guess, like a wrestler puberty. It was like, man, he just went from what we knew before to who we see today. And man, to know now that he stands a chance at setting the record of most TNT Championship defenses.
Ooh, I had no idea about that. That's interesting.
And, you know, and he talked about this on Collision last week and how he's ready to set that record because we have had, you know, 8 defenses between, you know, Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes, Miro. They had 8 successful defenses. And for Kyle Fletcher to go past that, I think there's really nobody worthy of doing that more than him. But Mark Briscoe, this belt has eluded him for so long. And, you know, when you think about the history of Mark Briscoe in AEW and how much it could mean to him to become TNT champion, it could be one of the most significant moments, not just for Mark Briscoe's career, but in AEW history, if he can do it. Because a loss is just as significant for Mark Briscoe. He has got everything to lose here. He would have to answer to Don Callis. And
I don't wish that on anybody.
You know, thinking about how beloved Mark Briscoe is, that's the thing all of us want to see. Not at all. Nobody wants to see that. And unfortunately, it is a possibility here.
Yeah. I think it's really fascinating to kind of look at the difference between these two guys. Like, we joke that in like the last 2 years, Kyle Fletcher has gone from like a boy to a man, whereas in the last 2 years, I think Mark Briscoe has had 2 boys in that course of time. But at the same time, like 2 years ago, could we have imagined Mark Briscoe having the singles career that he's having? Like, it's all respect to Jay. Like, the two of them are great and have this amazing history as tag team wrestlers. But I really, really enjoy that Mark Briscoe's run in AEW has been as a great singles competitor and also as a great trios competitor with the conglomeration. And I think that would be the thing that breaks my heart the most, is that if he has to join the Don Callis family, does it mean he leaves the conglomeration? Because it's my favorite group.
Definitely don't want to see that. We haven't gotten enough of the entrance. So that has got to keep going forever. But speaking of things that don't get to keep going forever, this segment doesn't get to keep going forever because we've got to take a break. But later on in the show, we will be joined by the one and only, the Jet, Kevin Knight, and he'll be here to talk about the introduction of the AEW National Championship. Ooh. But when we come back, we've got more. Stay tuned. This is AEW Unrestricted.
AEW Unrestricted, Aubrey and Will here, and we are previewing Full Gear. It's going to be another packed card in another New Jersey in the Prudential Center. We've been there a number of times. This is our 7th annual Full Gear. Super stoked. It's going to be this Saturday, November 22nd. You can get your tickets at AEWTIX.com. If you can't be there in person, which, I mean, if you're in the Northeast, you have no reason not to be there, right? You can stream it on HBO Max, Prime Video, YouTube, Triller internationally, and PPV.com. We've already talked a lot about the big individual title matches that are going on, but we got to talk about this $1 million trio match. Like, there's a lot of money on the line. We've got Jurassic Express, who by the way, I love that they've joined back up together. I love me some Jack Perry. I love me some Luchasaurus, but they're teaming up with Kenny Omega, taking on the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander in a $1 million trios match. Like, it's a lot of money on the line.
$1 million on the line. And
1 million.
yes, and this is life-changing money for the Young Bucks, who have been down on their luck for the last few months and could really, really use this boost. At the same time, Jurassic Express, they have been back with a vengeance. It has been so great to see these two. Honestly, just getting to hang with the two of them. I've had great conversations with the two of them over the last few months, and it has just been excellent to see these two back in and figuring themselves back out as a tag team, because it's like, this isn't the Jurassic Express of old. This is a newly evolved Jurassic Express. I think that when you think about what Luchasaurus has gained over the last couple of years as being Kill Switch and being a part of the patriarchy and learning under Christian Cage, and then also you have Jack Perry, who, he did a complete transformation back in 2023, and he didn't leave any of what he gained there behind. And so these two come together. It's like, no, this isn't the Jurassic Express of old. This is Jungle Jack Perry, and this is a more experienced, a wiser Luchasaurus than we've ever seen. And he's wise as it is. But and then we've mentioned all of that, but for those guys to now be teaming with Kenny Omega, and Kenny has had his history with the Young Bucks. He's had some of the greatest matches of all time, teaming with the Young Bucks and being against the Young Bucks, and seeing all these guys in a ring together. It's so nostalgically AEW. But then you've got an X Factor in there that's not nostalgically AEW, and that's Josh Alexander, who is just an excellent, excellent performer in his own right. And seeing all this come together, this is the stuff that AEW is made of.
Right? Like, I didn't realize until you said it how quintessential this AEW, quintessentially AEW this match is. We've got guys who have been there since day one that we know combined together are going to do incredible things in the ring. Because anytime you see the Young Bucks, regardless if they're broke or their coffers are filled with money, they're going to bring out the best in everyone they wrestle. And I love that Josh Alexander has kind of been thrown into the mix here, because he has been a great addition to the AEW roster, and seeing him sort of team with all these guys kind of just rounds it out nicely. We've got different wrestling styles in all of this, and then Josh Alexander kind of fills in that almost like a missing piece, if you will. So it's a lot of money on the line, but I think independent of the money, I think these guys just have a lot of pride that they're all fighting for. The Young Bucks have been through a lot in the last few months. I know that they get quite a bit of sympathy from everybody, from being, private jets and whatnot, to suddenly being super broke that they can't afford pyro anymore. So, that $1 million, that could go quite a long way.
Speaking of this being Full Gear, one of the most important pieces of the history of Full Gear is the man the pay-per-view is named for, and that is Pac, who will be going one-on-one with Darby Allin. These two, it's been a very long time since we've seen these two go one-on-one. If I remember correctly, the last time one-on-one was it the Jericho Cruise, the first one? The first AEW one? I think so. Wait, no, that was sorry, it was the week. Yeah, it was Moxley and Pac. So it was the week before, because it was what led to that. So it was still the Bash of the Beach show, but it was the week before in Miami.
Got some Death Rider mix in there. It's fine.
Yeah, so it was what led to that. It was Darby Allin and Pac in the main event the week before in Miami. So I was close, but either way, it's been such a long time. We talk about AEW mainstays. We talk about guys who have been around the block in All Elite Wrestling. And you can't talk about that without talking about Darby Allin and talking about Pac. And the last time these two went one-on-one, it was awesome. Those two absolutely tore the house down. And the fact that they have grown so much as competitors and grown so much as performers since then. Darby has had his war going on with the Death Riders pretty much since the Death Riders became the Death Riders. Mm-hmm. And one man who's eluded him this entire time has been Pac. And to finally get his hands on Pac, I think this is another one of those matches that could potentially tear the house down.
One of the things that I saw online recently was someone had taken sort of a screenshot of the last the last frame of last Wrestle Dream from last year. So we have Darby Allin, we've got Orange Cassidy, and we've got Daniel Garcia, who are all looking, very forlorn that Bryan Danielson has basically just been, taken out by Moxley for the rest of his career. And it's interesting to kind of see how things have come to pass, how Daniel Garcia is now even a part of the Death Riders, but to see Darby having already done things like climb Mount Everest and come back and still going after the Death Riders. Like that is how much hatred he has towards the Death Riders. And I feel like he uses a lot of that emotion in his matches when he's like fighting them directly. We saw it in Blood and Guts last week, like the passion that he brings consistently week after week. But when he's trying to almost right a wrong, it's like he's kind of turning it up to 11 a little bit. So Pac being the amazing technician he is, and then on top of that, like Pac's in the best shape of his life. He looks insane. The first time I saw him, it's funny you say that Full Gear is named after Pac. The first time I saw him in gear after his return, I literally gasped as he turned the corner because it was like, I did not know that this guy could look even better than he did prior to injury. So Pac's in the shape of his life. Darby is in, the emotional state where he wants to take out the Death Riders, I think more than anything else in the world. This match is going to hit really, really freaking hard.
Yes. It's, again, Full Gear. It delivers every single time. And we will be at the Prudential Center. You want to get your tickets, AEWTix.com, Newark, New Jersey. It's going to be an incredible, incredible time. And if you can't be there, of course, you can join us on pay-per-view. It's available on HBO Max. It's available on Prime Video. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Triller, ppv.com. However you stream it, you don't want to miss it. And we're going to take one more break, but when we come back, we are joined by the Jet, one half of JetSpeed, but more importantly, he's going to be challenging and getting a chance at the National Championship. And we're going to be talking about that match, all that and much more when AEW Unrestricted continues. Welcome back to AEW Unrestricted. It's Will Washington, it's Aubrey Edwards, and of course, we're still previewing Full Gear, which is live this Saturday, November 22nd, from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, and you can get your tickets AEWTix.com, but if you can't be there with us in person, you can also stream it on traditional pay-per-view. It is on HBO Max, it is on Prime Video, it's on YouTube, it's on Triller, ppv.com, however you get your pay-per-views. We've been talking about this awesome card so far, and we're going to be talking now about the Casino Gauntlet to crown the inaugural AEW National Champion. And one of the participants in the Casino Gauntlet is here with us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the Jet. He is Kevin Knight. Thanks for being back here on AEW Unrestricted.
Thank you so much for having us. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you guys on here.
It has been a while. I feel like I didn't see you last week because you weren't there for Blood and Guts, and now it feels like I haven't seen you in like 3 months, just with the way that time works.
Right. It's so crazy.
It's so crazy. So we've got this Casino Gauntlet match coming up. It is to crown the inaugural AEW National Champion. Talk a little bit about what it was like when you found out you were participating in this match this weekend.
I thought it was another great opportunity to get in there with rivals / people that I haven't gotten to fully work with, such as a Ricochet or the rest of the Hurt Syndicate. Those are the only two participants other than my partner in there as well. So I feel it's going to be very interesting. And if me and Speedball are in there at the same time, I feel like it'll be a little bit of tension there, but may the best man win, you know?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because, when the idea of JetSpeed really kind of came out of left field a little bit. Both you and Speedball came to AEW with singles aspirations, but found each other as a tag team. But as fate may have it, you guys now are both in this match and have a chance to fulfill those singles goals. Is that still kind of the ultimate destination for you, or are you still kind of keeping your eye on tag team success as well?
Man, we got a lot of cash in this business since being in Tony Khan's company. We've won a couple of money matches. So me and Speedball both have the same mentality to turn this cash into gold, whether that's with tag team gold, whether that's with singles gold with this national title. I think by any means necessary, we're both going to do what we have to do. And if we have to meet each other at the top, we're both very evenly matched. I think we'll both give each other a great run for our money and may the best man win.
So one of the things that is most exciting about the Casino Gauntlet match is that we end up having multiple competitors come in over the course of time. So we have all these people stated for it, but we don't know who's going to win, when they're going to win, how many people are actually going to make it and whatnot. So let's just say, you're coming to the match with this incredible style. You're a high flyer. It's almost like watching you float in the air when you do anything. You just have this incredible physical prowess compared to the rest of our roster. Is there anyone in the match that you're particularly looking to square up with, or you're excited to face off against?
Like I said before, the contestants that I know so far, number one at the top of my list, definitely Ricochet. Ricochet does a lot of typing. He got the strongest Twitter fingers out of the whole roster, I feel like. And, I just want to see him test that in this Casino Gauntlet. He does a lot of that. So I think he has a big target on the back of his head. And it's shiny.
It'd be very visible, yes.
Yeah, very visible. Of course. So I feel like, it needs to be a lot of rectification along those lines because we still didn't get our get back from Forbidden Door. And he just likes to talk a lot of trash, whether that's to the Hurt Syndicate or to us as JetSpeed. So Ricochet got a lot coming. He got a lot to look for.
So let's say at the end of this match, we hear Justin Roberts shout from the rooftops, the winner and new AEW National Champion, Kevin Knight. What do you want the AEW National Championship to represent as its first champion?
Man, I think it makes sense for somebody like the Jet to be the first ever inaugural national champion anyway. The Jet's been here, there, everywhere in between. Born in New York, raised in Atlanta, started my wrestling career in Seattle and on to LA, to Japan, all over the state. So if anybody knows anything about the nation, it is the Jet. So I feel like I would represent it in that way. I have different tastes, different interests from every part of this country. So I know how to connect with everybody around the country. So I think it's only fitting for me to be one of the first ever champions. So
damn, that's a really good point that you've literally been everywhere. Exactly. Just if we're just talking about the United States, like we were talking before you came on about how you're going to Mexico twice this weekend. So like you're not only national, you're international, right? Exactly. But you're putting all this time and whatnot in. And I love that. It's hard to think that you haven't been a part of our roster for as long as you have been, because it feels like just yesterday you joined, but then like to think about like, wait, you weren't here like 3 years ago. This just feels so weird.
6 months.
To me, it's
6 months.
Right? That's it. And here you are in this incredible match on pay-per-view, potentially becoming the first ever national champion. It's freaking awesome.
Right.
What do you think it'll do for your momentum going into 2026?
I think a lot will be proven. A lot will be proven, being able to defend that champion, whether that's on the indies, whether that's getting the TV time, just showcasing who the Jet really is. Because as JetSpeed together, me and Mike get together so well. We get to see a different side of me, and you get to see Speedball as well. But when the Jet is by himself, when the spotlight is on him, it shines the brightest, and you get to see a whole different side. So I think just the momentum going into the new year. My birthday's on the new year anyway, so it's like right at the height. I think everything's gonna align. I'm all about alignment, and when everything gets in alignment, everything's gonna be how it's supposed to be. So I don't like exposing all of my plans to the public, because there's a lot of people that may try to snipe it down. But it's a lot of good things here to come.
Well, what makes the Casino Gauntlet match unique compared to other matches of its, I guess, of its sibling matches, is that one of the things that you want in a Casino Gauntlet is one of the earlier numbers. You want to be drawn early on because
True.
you know that gives you the opportunity to end the match sooner. However, I guess hypothetical scenario, what happens if, let's say, you come in number one but Speedball's number two?
Ooh.
Oof. It's going to be a long, long game of rock, paper, scissors. I'll tell you that. It'll be a long game of rock, paper, scissors, tic tac toe, bloody knuckles, whatever it's going to be. No, but if we get in there, we won't hesitate to go at it because, I still got a sour taste in my mouth. A little bit of a grudge a couple years ago. You may not know this. Speedball cost me a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion at the All Star
Oh.
Festival a couple years ago. So we had to battle it out in the main event. I think on 30 plus minutes, wrestling our second time that night. So he got the best of me then. So I again got to get some more rectification for that moment because since then I still haven't challenged for that championship. So it's just something burning in my heart. I don't want to take a grudge out my partner. We got so much going well right now, but I think that'll be a perfect time to let some frustration out for how long does every participant come into the ring? Is it every 90
Yeah,
seconds,
Will.
every
Yeah, but
3 minutes?
I mean, look, it's alternated from match to match, but it's usually been between 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So that
Okay.
is, and that's an eternity in wrestling.
It
Oh yeah.
is. It is. So maybe about 30 seconds of, shaking hands and showing respect, but then the next 90 seconds, however long, I think we're gonna go at it. I think we're gonna go
I
at
like
it.
I just want to see the two of you stand off and like not touch and then have the crowd chant this is awesome without anything happening because that'll take like 45 seconds by itself. It's fine.
Right, right. We want to be well rested by the time the next person comes in anyway. We just want to have a
Exactly.
little friendly competition before it gets rowdy.
Exactly. I just kind of want to talk like general, like this weekend's obviously really big for you, but in the 6 months you've been at AEW, like you've had a lot of these big moments that have come across. So how have you handled just sort of the pressure overall of being sort of thrust into the spotlight of great, now you're this amazing singles guy. You're also a part of an incredible tag team. You're wrestling on pay-per-views. You're flying internationally and representing yourself in other countries. You're still working with New Japan some. Like
Right.
well, how has it been managing all of that? What's the pressure like? How do you handle it?
Man, it's crazy you saying all of that stuff because I'm really realizing how short of a time span that has been and how much that I've been doing in that time
Right?
span. But the biggest way that I cope with it is I'm just showing up to work. I'm treating it as it's another day. Back in the dojo days, we went through so much. So this is everything that I've been wanting since those days. So I'm extremely grateful, and I'm taking every day by day, brick by brick, and that pressure that you talk about is such a privilege. Like pressure doesn't happen to mediocre people. Pressure doesn't happen to people that are just here for the
Damn.
ride. So I take it as a special privilege that I have any type of pressure. So I want to rise to the occasion every single time.
Well,
Damn.
I think I've got one final question to kind of wrap this one up on. And I'm going to pull a quote that one of your
Uh-oh.
opponents at one point said in a recent interview he gave. But Dax Harwood said the
Mm.
following. He
Uh-huh.
said, Kevin Knight, I think, is going to be our main event ace. I've never been with someone in the ring who knows ring positioning, who's as smart as he is, who knows timing like that guy. I could say a million good things about him, but he will be a big star for us in about 3 to 5 years. Do you believe that to be accurate, or would you say that those 3 to 5 years might be a lot sooner?
You know, I don't have a eight ball or a magic genie at my disposal. So all I could do is take those words as is what it is, straight exactly what he may have said. But I'm a big proponent of reading. I read The Art of War. I know the 48 Laws of Power. I know that people try to keep their friends closer, enemies closer. And deception is the number one tactic in war. So I'm not sure if Dax is trying to throw me off my game. So when I get in the ring with him, I'll take it a little bit easy on him. Or if I want to, maybe join him or something in the future. I don't know what the long game is for him saying this. Very nice words, but I don't take I'm not easily fooled by a little compliment here and there. Honestly, I don't need his compliments. I very much appreciate it, and I know how good I am. And the fact that every single time JetSpeed is going against FTR, they've had to pull some type of interference, some type of flammery, what I like to call it. Little Stokely is always
Flammery.
getting he's always getting involved with his little nubby fingers. So I think he's just trying to soften me up so that he may be able to get one over on me one more time. But he's always thinking a step ahead. I'm always thinking 2 steps ahead. But we're gonna see him again. It's not the last time he's gonna see us.
I read that quote and I mean, I could not agree more. I feel like you are definitely a future face of this company. You are on an incredible trajectory, and I feel like you've got a great head on your shoulders. Just sort of stay the course and it'll happen naturally. You don't need to listen to the compliments. You just need to listen to the fans to know how much Kevin Knight and JetSpeed are loved by our fans. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you compete in this match. I'm not going to say that I have a favorite to win, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's okay. It's okay. I understand. We can't give out too much info.
Like when the bell rings, I gotta remain unbiased. But beforehand, I'm a Kevin Knight girly. I'm gonna say, like,
Of course, I don't know if the people watching this know this, but I don't know if we mentioned in the first interview, but we were next door neighbors. You got my
totally.
first ever
Down the
booking back
street.
in the day. So
Down the street. So it's very I get a lot of joy seeing you succeed because I'm like, man, I remember when I picked that guy up in downtown Bellevue. Hell yeah, this is great.
My first ref gig and everything.
Thank you for joining us today, Kevin. This was awesome. We're rooting for you this weekend. It's going to be an exciting match to see. Tune into Full Gear, and you can see Kevin compete this weekend for a chance at being the inaugural AEW National Champion. Thanks for hanging out, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you, Kevin, for being here. But we have to close this show with the AEW World Championship. Of course, again, we talked earlier about Full Gear and the namesake of the show. But the man the show is truly named for was a man who was in full gear. And he's always in full gear. Yeah, he's full gear all the time. BTE lore for everybody. But yes. Hangman Adam Page defending his AEW World Championship one more time against the former AEW World Champion Samoa Joe. We saw these two go one-on-one at WrestleDream last month in St. Louis. Hangman got the better of Samoa Joe, but then after the match, he and the entire ops all betrayed Hangman Adam Page. They turned heel, as it were, and
as it were,
and they put the boots to Hangman, and they have kept the AEW World Championship in their focus. And now this match is being had inside a steel cage.
So I remember when the ops turned heel inside baseball. When the ops turned and after WrestleDream ended and they all came backstage and they all had kind of an extra swagger in their step. And I just look at Shibata and I give him like the disappointed mother-in-law glare. Like, I can't, but like him and Hobbs and Joe, it's just, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, man, these guys, they're huge jerks. And I feel like that's kind of going to give Joe a little bit of an advantage here because he's coming in with this new sort of attitude, if you will. But also, I mean, how can we not talk about the difference in adding a steel cage in this match? We've seen Hangman before. He's done like terrible things in a steel cage. He'll be the first one to admit it. So we know what he's capable of. But him and Joe in a steel cage, like this is sort of almost the great equalizer, if you will, that while we've seen these two go one-on-one before, this one makes it entirely different as soon as you add sort of that one stipulation.
Yes. And thinking about the fact that, not to say that Joe has ever needed the ops by his side, but the fact that the steel cage almost works to Hangman's advantage in somewhat neutralizing the ops and giving him kind of the fair positioning of being able to take on Samoa Joe on his own. But at the same time, does Hangman Adam Page exactly want to be inside a ring locked in with Samoa Joe? Who does?
That'd be one of the last things that I would ask for ever.
Yes. And so this is one of those matches that truly could go either way. And I think that by the end of the night, we could be staring at a new AEW World Champion. We could see Samoa Joe walk away with the championship again. At the same time, Hangman's had that belt since All In, and he's not ready to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, like Samoa Joe has been a champion before. This isn't Hangman's first time around, but at the same time, the belt feels so right with Hangman. He is AEW's main character, and after seeing him go through the redemption, the growth of him as not only just Hangman, but as like a man, having gone through all of the things he did, like his history with Swerve, and him becoming the better person, besting Jon Moxley at All In. It's one of those things where I don't want to see Hangman without the belt because it just feels so right. But, it's not about what I want. It's about what Hangman wants. And is he going to best Samoa Joe in that cage? It's hard to say one way or another.
It's hard to say, but what is easy to say is that you do not want to miss this show. It is live. It is this Saturday. It is at the Prudential Center, AEWTix.com, New Jersey. You want to be there. Again, AEW, we say it all the time. We always deliver on pay-per-view, and I promise this is going to be another show that delivers in ways that only AEW can. And you can watch this show in person, AEWTix.com, or you can watch it on traditional pay-per-view or stream it on HBO Max or YouTube or Amazon Prime, Triller. However you get your pay-per-views, get this show. Full Gear always delivers. And also don't forget that AEW Unrestricted is presented by Upper Deck, and the 2025 AEW SP game used set is available now and is the first ever AEW released, packed with autographs, tech cards, and real match used relics pulled straight from the ring, including championship gear, event banners, even a one-of-one fork from All In Texas. Grab your box at local hobby shops and hit upperdeck.com to find a store near you. And also, the new AEW Full Gear digital card set is available. Get yours today at upperdeck.epack.com/redemption/2025 Full Gear. We'll include the link in the show notes too. And you can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out video episodes on our YouTube channel at AEW Unrestricted. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're not an AEW insider, get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. And also don't forget that AEW Dynamite is live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max, TBS, and HBO Max. And also AEW Collision is live every Saturday on TNT and also streaming on HBO Max. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I'm Will Washington. She is Aubrey Edwards. Thanks for listening. This is AEW Unrestricted.